So we're here at the first ever Parkinson's Regen Instructor Summit, if you will, and we have a guest, Jerry. Thank you.
Well, I'll be with you. As I said, I really want you to do it.
Thank you. We thought we'd have just a conversation to talk about some of the stuff we do and the effect that it has had. We know that construction noisy, but whatever. So we know that there are a lot of videos we post in our travels and seeing progress. It's really good, but we actually have to talk about it now a little bit. So this is totally improv right here, but it's cool because now we can have conversations. So we've been working together for a few years, and just for the record, for people, is it 8 years ago you were diagnosed?
It was 8 years ago.
All right. And so we know that when we look at people with with anything, if they fall, they're considered a faller, but you have not fallen.
Not yet. It's a matter of time, but not yet.
No, we're not going to let you fall.
I see this as an inevitable progression. Falling's part of it eventually. I mean, I've been able to catch myself because of some of the things we've been doing.
Yeah, we want to keep that as long as possible.
Absolutely, no question about it. That's my number one issue.
Well, so guess when I look at it, like we've worked out a lot, hundreds.
Too much.
Too much. I'm telling you, clients says this are tough because they harass you all the time. But no, he's great. But you've been fighting back. We did 2 interviews for the YouTube channel, my YouTube series, and both of them have something about fighting back against Parkinson's. So first of all, like what I find when I travel is, we know, I'll see people who are depressed. They come in angry and depressed. Did you ever experience that? Like, in fact, I know the answer to this, but can you tell us your first reaction?
It was sobering, not depressing. I mean, it's progressive. You know it's going to get worse. You don't know the pattern. Everybody's got their own pattern.
Yeah.
I've been blessed. A very slow trajectory down. I know it's worse than it used to be, but not a whole lot worse. It's been 8 years, so that's pretty good. My hands doesn't always tremor like this. Sometimes it's still.
Yeah.
Limits things I can do. I think that the biggest problem I have, besides being fear of falling, that's my number one issue.
Yeah.
It's the social aspect of it.
So how does that affect you? I'm just curious.
Well, I'll give you an example. Last week we had a lunch meeting at the economics department, and they serve lunch. And I'm very careful about what I take off the plate, on my plate, because I can't eat with this fork very easily, and I look ridiculous. And okay, so here's another dimension of the story. So at the dinner table in my house, a little dog, and she sits underneath me waiting for me to drop stuff. She knows I'm going to. And then she gets up, jumps up into my legs and looks around to see what's on my shirt. And it's become a joke, but it's a joke at home, but it's not a joke when you're out.
No, right.
So I'm very conscious of I wouldn't order soup out. These are the little things. God knows people suffer much more than I do with much more severe issues. These are things that I think about. I never carry any liquids in my right hand. My left hand's good so far. But on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't really get in my way. So to answer your question, I've never really been depressed about it. It's sobering, depression just isn't an option because otherwise you give up.
Well, I remember you telling me that, I already knew this, but I wanted you to share, thank you, because that's a different kind of mindset you have than a lot of people do, which I admire greatly, and it inspires me and us because we see so many people feeling defeated. I've seen so many people around the world feeling defeated, and fortunately, if they learn how to do something and move better, even one little thing, all of a sudden there's some hope.
Which is what, these little victories are huge for them.
Yeah.
Because they're not little to them.
Right. No. And that's the whole thing, is who would ever think that rolling over in bed could be the first problem of the day for some people?
Right.
Yet, imagine if you couldn't and you had to get somebody to help you.
They would get old in a hurry.
And then imagine if you regain the ability, whoa, right? So we've had this help so many people. Yeah.
And they show me videos of some of these folks that have done things they had never been able to do before, or
Yeah.
at least in a long time. And it's inspiring. You
Yeah.
feel really special to do that for somebody.
Well,
I use much more theory, like teach them, and try to affect their brain, but I never can tell whether there's any effect there.
until they take the test, right?
Even then, I'm not quite positive.
Yeah.
But you can see the physical realities of somebody's new mobility, and that's amazing.
Yeah, that is actually the most gratifying part of all this for me. So this makes me think of another thing. We all talk about this, like in our workshops, about how effects of Parkinson's. We have motor symptoms, we have non-motor symptoms, we have effects on quality of life, which could include things from buttoning a shirt to going out in public. And what we find is that depending upon the personality of the person, some people just don't care and they'll go out, but other people start to withdraw from society, or they're more selective on where they go and who they're with, because just what you were saying is, well, I don't know in your case, but I know there are people who, if they're tremoring and they can't even have the wrist, this rotation to get the fork in, then they're not even going to go anywhere. So that, I appreciate you bringing that up, because that affects a lot of people.
And it affects me, but doesn't limit me.
Yeah.
I adjust to it, basically. I'm careful about what I order. I'm careful about how I function. I try not to let it get in the way of my life. Otherwise, it wins and I lose.
Interesting. Do you?
Anybody's welcome to ask a question.
Do you?
Excuse me?
Never tried the ambidextrous.
I've tried. I tend to use. I get home, I'll use a fork, my left hand. I can't do it in an elegant way I used to be able to do with my right hand, so I look sort of like this. So I'm very conscious of it in public, but at home I'll do that. Or I'll use a spoon to eat pasta because I can't stab it very well. I adjust. If I go out to a pasta, our restaurants we enjoy around here, St. Gotti's. I know that I must look sort of ridiculous, but I'm eating sort of shoveling. But I like it, what the hell?
Yeah. And if anyone thinks it looks weird, that's their problem.
Exactly, that's what I try to tell myself.
But and so you'll tell yourself that. That's where other people may not be able to.
I was yesterday, I was walking someplace and I was thinking to myself, I think I look awkward when I walk sometimes because I look like a drunken sailor. Like we were talking about, I'll find a line in the carpet and follow it to sort of keep myself on pace. But then I saw this guy walking across campus who was like, I had cerebral palsy or something like that. It was like really distorted. Nobody stared at him. Nobody notices me. I gotta remind them I'm not on display. Nobody cares about my problem.
Yeah.
It's actually a good thing because that way I'm not self-conscious about it because I'm not. The first day I teach my class, I tell them I have a trimmer. We all know it now. Make good milkshakes. I just want them to sort of just get beyond that. I don't want to feel like it's a secret.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I remember when I was in your class, I think you might have said these words verbatim. I think it was, I have a tremor. I know about it, and now you do too. And then you moved on and like told the Eminem story or something like that.
I try to put it out there because I don't want it to be like this like elephant in the room.
Well, what's interesting is I suspected Parkinson's only because I was starting to learn from my son who was doing his PhD in Parkinson's at the time. So, but there are other things that can cause tremors too. So that I wondered, and then I found out later. But so this made me think. Let's go down. Let's talk about that line that you walk, because we teach this in our workshops, and we'll later in the various segments of videos we'll be doing this stuff. We talk about gait, walking, movement, and trying to walk in a straight line. Part of our analysis for gait is, well, can you walk in a straight line? Do you not? And if you don't, what can we do to help you get there? So, and I already knew this anyways, but so you'll pick a line, if there is one, you're trying to pick a line and walk.
In the hallway outside my office, it's like seams in the floor. And I'll pick one and just try and orient myself towards it so that I don't wander. Because I'm just, there's a couple of things I'm very conscious of. I try not to get into my head, but like going up steps, there's somebody right behind me, I'll just step out of the way and let it go.
Yeah.
It takes me a while to get up the steps. I told you about this. When I go to the classroom where I teach, there's a stairway, and then the door opens opposite the banister.
Yes.
It's a tricky thing for me to get from the...
And I've been there, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. The tricky thing for me to get that, and the door opens. It's an awkward movement. It's even more awkward when I leave. I open the door, and I got to hold the door open and get to the banister. And if somebody's behind me and I want to be nice and hold the door, I'm leaning towards the banister and I'm above the steps. It makes me nervous, actually.
Yeah.
So these are moments of transition and things that I'm very conscious of. So I try to set up my... As soon as behind me, I let them go in front of me, so they hold the door for me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You know, I play these sort of strategic games with myself.
Yeah.
Try to make it easier for me to sort of function.
You kind of end up being like a movement expert for yourself too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I know
Yeah.
where my malady is, and I know my limitations, and my idiosyncratic movements. And so, I mean, I never go up downstairs. I go up without a banister sometimes, but never. Banister's my friend going down. And even if I look sort of silly, what the hell? It gets back to the issue of, a lot of people look silly because they're validates. They're not watching me. I have to remind myself of that all the time. I'm not on stage. When I teach, I'm on stage, which is why I bring it up and tell the kids about it. In my day-to-day life, when I'm walking down the street and walking across campus, there's one more person walking across campus with my own idiosyncratic walk. Nobody's paying attention to me, so I shouldn't be so conscious about it because nobody cares.
Yeah. There's a
Everybody's
saying.
looking at their phone anyway.
Exactly, except for me, because I can't do it.
There's a study that came out from Stony Brook University about, had nothing to do with Parkinson, it has to do with texting and walking and the incidents of accidents, injuries.
Yeah, really.
And my
I'm
friend
probably the
Miss
safest
Moratori
person on
did it.
campus because I know I can't text.
Yeah, it's
Stop the
actually,
text.
of course, we would suspect that, or expect that, yeah, injuries would be higher. They actually did a study on this. It's very interesting. So let's go back. This is what this conversation is turning into is interesting. It's like a disease management strategies, if you will. So you have used, I know you've used a line and targets to walk, and we practice that anyways, but are you using every once in a while some sensory, like your hand on a wall?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Because that whole thing about the
And it's funny.
fingertips and the palms when they
I was
touch.
just about to say, it doesn't take, like when I'm putting my pants,
Yeah,
I have to stand on one leg. All it takes is one finger
yeah,
to get my orientation. So that I don't feel, it's like triangulating space.
you guys are getting all kinds of anecdotes right now, by the way.
Yeah.
These are like stories that we can tell in workshops of examples people have used.
Yeah,
Given.
it's huge.
Because I have my own, but they don't. A lot of them don't have theirs.
How much
You have some, but you're
finger
getting.
on something will make it. I always think about it as triangulating.
Mhm.
I have my visual space orientation. My finger gives me sort of a different location to sort of spatially orient myself.
Oh yeah.
Which makes it much easier to do things.
Mhm.
So you just like put it on a bed or a chair or a wall or
Bench or whatever's
whatever's handy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sensory input actually in the study that we talk about in our workshop, which we'll go through at some point today or tomorrow, it talks about sensory. So for some people, a metronome will help to get more steady in their crawling or their walking, if it's the right tempo. And then touching something. Sometimes it's the fingertips together or the palms or a wall. Just
So I go
touching,
run
and
down
it's
steps.
just a little bit too. It's like, okay, just touch that.
Sometimes
Now
I go
know.
down steps and I'll just run my hand over the banister.
Yeah.
I'm more wary of that because if I fall, I got a big problem. So
Yeah.
I keep an open grip so if I can grab it, and worse comes worse. But just having my hand on the banister makes it much easier to sort of get down the steps.
Sure. So you mentioned earlier too, you're doing this stuff because you don't want to fall down. You said you have a fear of falling.
Well, I have osteopenia, which makes me more vulnerable
Yeah.
to breaking a bone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
right.
mean, I have a double whammy. have instability and bones that are not as sturdy as they should be.
And I remember you showed me your hip x-ray years ago,
Yeah, right.
and how the doctor was saying you're losing a little bit of bone density. What, right hip? I think.
You're telling me.
One of the hips. I still have that x-ray. And that resistance training could help to preserve like bone mass.
Well, that's why I do the barefoot walking or the walking with the thin soles,
Yep.
so that I get that. I can't run.
You get more impact forces from the ground
Exactly.
than when you have a 15 millimeter sole.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm doing everything.
High five, buddy, because you're doing the stuff. He actually does the stuff. That's what I love.
You know, it's either let it win. I mean, it's going to win eventually, but it's a rear guard action. But the way I figured it, said 8 years ago. How was I? So I was 62 when I was diagnosed. I figured I could last 20 years, be dead before the Parkinson's really gets bad. I'm trying to sort of keep it at bay, live long enough to enjoy a full life. And when I'm dead, it won't be my problem.
Yeah, but on June 5th, 2061, I'm having my 100th birthday party
I
at the
already
top of
gave
the
you a
stairs,
card.
and you're being. He's giving me a birthday card in advance. And I'm going to make a Facebook thing, and I'm going to invite everybody, and you better be there.
I'll be there. I'm not going to.
My first 100th birthday card came already from Jerry.
Nice.
That was so funny. There's another thing, and we've actually never done this. I guess just because I know you so well and how you manage your movement. But there is this thing called the ABC scale, which is the activity balance something. It's a fall and awareness exam, and it's for people to find out their awareness of falling. Like how likely is it that I'm going to fall? Because when people don't know, some people tend to go into like fall phobia and they don't move very much. So that's not good because they're not moving in a sedentary life and they atrophy and being weight or whatever. Then there's the other side, which you're not in either category. You're in the middle, I would say, because you manage your movement so well. But then we have the reckless gait, which is the opposite. You know, that would be, we know somebody like this, where she explodes off the ground and then falls down because she's not aware. And she has no, of the 4 motor symptoms, the one she has is postural instability. No tremor, flexible, and she's not slow. And usually those 3 would show up before postural instability, but Parkinson's affects each person uniquely differently.
Postural instability, how would you describe that?
That would be just overall very, very bad balance.
So just center of gravity is not where it should be.
Yeah, and even more so is it maybe like none of us, well, you and me, our center of gravity is probably not where it should be because I lean forward.
So
Yeah, but we've adjusted, so we're okay. But if you had postural instability, you probably would have fallen by now many times. So you're doing well. Plus, you're doing all kinds of things to help your stability and
if
your.
you move really fast, you have this problem. You're looking for trouble.
Well, yeah, actually, yes.
She moves fast, and then if something distracts her, it throws her off completely. So she has to be single focused.
Yeah.
Actually, that's interesting because I have to be pretty focused when I walk too. I don't walk fast.
Yeah.
I walk slow, but it's
You
still
find
not
if
that.
something like if someone just starts
Someone
talking to
catches
you,
my eye.
yeah.
If I think I see one of my students across the way and I look over, I think to myself, "Ooh, careful,"
Yeah.
because I realize I'm gotta focus on what I'm doing when I walk. That's why I don't text and walk. If I want to text, I stop because I know I can't do. Walking is a challenge, and I want to make sure I get it right. So I have to focus on it.
Yeah, complications from falls are number 1 cause of death in a person with Parkinson's. And it's scary to think about. Alfonso has a video, Dr. Fazano in Toronto showed me a video of a gentleman who fell backwards, hit his head, and then died a month later, right? I know Jones hit her head backwards, but she's okay. But it depends on what you hit, how you hit it, and all these different factors, right? But or you could just wind up not able to move for a while or forever. And yeah, so falling is a fear, but you're managing it very well.
It's funny because we talked about this before. If I'm just standing still, I have a tendency to fall backwards. I don't know what it is about my Parkinson's, but I just have this. I have to be very aware of my spatial relations and things. If I'm just standing, if we were standing around just chatting, and my feet were in parallel, if I don't right my feet a little bit, I have nothing stepping back to catch me.
Yeah.
I tend to fall backwards. I'm aware of it, so I don't generally fall. But I'm generally aware of my surroundings too. If I'm falling, I know where to catch myself when.
It's one of the reasons your neurologist does the pull test from behind.
Right.
A little pull on the shoulders and then the big pull
Right.
to see how you're going to do going backwards.
Right, we did do well last time.
So it sounds like there's kind of a hypervigilance to your existence and just.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a self-preservation.
Yeah.
It's sort of Darwinian. If I don't do that, I'm not going to survive.
Yeah. I think that's something that we don't really talk about a lot, but it's just an idea that you really have to have. You're so much more aware
I want
of.
to be aware, but not paranoid.
Right.
That's a tricky
Absolutely.
balance.
Yep.
It would be easy to be paranoid.
That
I'm
falls
aware.
Yes.
Yeah. That falls into that spectrum we talk about. Awareness.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to be aware but not paranoid so you don't move.
So I teach about risk perceptions in my class in economics, and I talk about one of the things I do is I do this exercise where I said, okay, suppose you had unprotected sex with somebody in the university community. What's the chance of getting a sexually transmitted disease? Write down a number. I say 0 means it wouldn't happen, 100% means they're all over the map.
I
Show
remember
the different
that
perceptions of risk.
I was in your class.
When we did that one?
Yeah.
And I think there's a balance someplace between being paranoid and being ignorant.
And you always have both ends in the
Oh yeah,
class.
I mean, I get kids who say 100% chance. It's like, come on, I mean, it's not that bad. I get kids who say 0% or 1%, and I think that's a little optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the perceptions are not based on reality. Nobody does. I mean, I don't know the reality of my situation. I always thought we could actually figure out exactly the percentage of this because we could test it right on campus.
Sure.
But when you have Parkinson's, you don't know. It's all perceptions, and if your perceptions are skewed, if you're not, don't think about you get hurt like this. Paranoia is that extreme.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep a balance somehow. But the more you, that's what y'all do for people. You help them realize if I do the right exercises, if I do the walking with one foot in front of the other, like we do it here sometimes.
All the tandem stuff.
Yeah, the tandem walking. If I do those things, I'm reducing the risk factors so I can be wary without being paranoid. Basically, this is a sort of a risk diminishing process.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean zero risk. That would be foolish.
Right.
Like when we do the dots and I step around, I mean, we talk about this a lot of times. I save myself from falling a lot of times by
Oh, hundreds of
swinging my
times
foot
over the
around,
years. Yeah.
catch myself.
That's what we call fall recovery. You almost fall, but you don't fall.
Exactly, or when we do the wheel board and stuff like that. All
Yeah.
those things make me feel more confident without being arrogant about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So let's go back. Allison this morning was telling me about her Part Q. She has an extra question on it, and I love it. I don't know why I never thought of this, but like I said in the beginning, it ain't about me, it's about we. I don't even want to build this alone anymore. I want other people. I mean, I have built this from many different sources, but I mean, I have the ideas that I have, and so I tell them if you don't mind your question.
Sure. So
Maybe just ask Jerry.
Well, I mean, we already covered it a little bit, but I ask if there's anything that people fear in terms of movement. So if it's, if they're fearful of falling, are they fearful of the floor? Are they fearful? I work with people who've had injuries or pain, right? So if there's some of them are afraid to do a rotational movement. So anything like that I can know in advance is really helpful because one of the things that I talk to people about is the nervous system is what grants us mobility, is what grants us strength. And so if there are things that you are fearful of, your mobility is already going to be limited. So I take that into account when I'm coaching someone through movement, or we're trying to avoid certain movements and that kind of thing. So I think it's a really important thing to ask potential clients.
What's going on my part
Yeah.
here?
So,
Well, that's huge because I mean, like turning is a challenge because the world is swinging around and it makes it very difficult to get oriented
yeah.
when you're out of balance. So I mean, and if somebody's particularly worried about that, that's something to work on.
Absolutely.
Not to give them the confidence to turn willy-nilly, but give them the confidence to do it at least at a pace they can handle.
Exactly.
And figuring out how they can do it, thinking it through. for each
Exactly.
person.
I mean, and then you develop strategies because you begin to know. I mean, everybody's Parkinson's different, but I know pretty much where I am at any given point in time in my state of Parkinson's. So I know what I'm capable of and not capable of, and I don't try to push the boundaries. I try to push the boundaries without trying to be arrogant about it, like I said before.
I'm glad you said that because in all these years, I never thought about it like that. So I can teach and teach and teach that rotations are oftentimes a trigger for freezing of gait, which can lead to falls. Because you could be in motion and your center of mass passes over a frozen foot. If you can't react fast enough and break the fall, you fall.
Right.
You just said the world is swirling around you, and would you say
Reorient myself.
reorienting yourself? You know, I actually really never thought about it like that. That's a big insight for me. That's huge.
I get frozen. I get frozen when I'm getting up. I find I freeze. Like when we do the letters, give me those goddamn words that I sometimes freeze in that
Yes.
process.
Give me 5.
Your life's about to suffer.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but I find in day-to-day life I tend to freeze more when I'm just moving from sitting to vertical. I'm just about to start walking. I have to sort of get my legs ready. Okay, you can do this. And then once I start moving, it's pretty fluid for me anyway. But that freezing is not a major problem for me except in transitional stages.
Mhm.
Do you have strategies if you do freeze to start yourself moving?
I calm myself down.
Okay.
I think that's, I mean, I never really thought about it until I said it just then.
Yeah, yeah.
But like when I get out of bed and I stand up, I realize I'm not moving, but I want to move. I just sort of take a big breath and think, okay, this is a doable project. Just put one foot in front of the other, and it works just fine. I think it's more psychological and mental than it is physical.
And that breathing helps too when you get in that like, panic, fight or flight. That breathing's what's going to bring that fight or flight response.
Yeah, just sort of calm down.
Calm you down.
Yeah, because the rotation it doesn't always cause freezing of gait, but that's like a worst case scenario.
Right,
If
because
you're
then
disoriented and you're frozen,
Then you really got a problem.
higher
There's no
risk,
safe-
risk of
saving
falling
yourself.
increases, yeah. Yeah.
But
Interesting.
actually doing the dots makes it second nature. We talked about this before. One of the things that I like about what we do is things that I have to react to without any prior experience and sort of have to make it up on the fly. When I've been doing it physically, it's sort of motor memory. I don't have to think about it on the fly, just
Yeah,
swing my leg
right.
around.
That's part of that neural pathway development in your brain. And I'm suspecting that's probably what it is that you've done this so
I'm
many
assuming those two brain
times.
cells actually have a pathway.
Both of Jerry's brain cells are now connected. Well, that's twice as many cells as I have. So you do this, when we read these books by Deutsch and Rady and other research, we know for sure, it's kind of like riding a bicycle, right? You're not good at it the first day, maybe not the second day, but in a few days, week 2, your young kids, they probably all have ridden a bicycle and they weren't good and they might have had some blood and all that, and you're patching them up, but when they get so they can do it, it's because those synapses happened between those neurons and now create the bicycle riding pattern, right? And so in a few years, one of them's going to get a license, the first one, right? And he probably won't ride for 5 years, right? And then in 5 years,
They'll get back on the bike.
they'll get on the bike, but they won't have to relearn. You just have to fire up that rusty pathway, and bing, in 10 minutes they're gone, or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So with you're preparing for functional life by repeatedly doing this is our goal, and we hope it's what's actually happening, is that now you have both brain cells connected.
No, but I really think there's
But you have that connection, and now you, in real life, those cells fire up. That pathway fires because you did it here 1,000 times in the past few years.
And like when we do the ladder, I
Yeah,
hop.
yeah,
The best part of it is not the hopping successfully, sticking it. It's when not sticking it and catching myself falling.
we saw that right
Yeah.
yesterday. It's
Yep.
great. A lot of times it's the crossover pattern too, because one leg has so much weight on it, most of your weight on it, so you can't like get
Pick it
that
up.
leg off the ground. So you got to move the other one behind
Exactly.
or in front.
And it's great that you recognize that, because I work with clients and they'll get embarrassed if they almost fall. I'm like, no, this is the good stuff. I'm glad you did that because you caught yourself.
Yeah.
It's not.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
really like it when I stick it and it's all working. But I realize that's not the point.
right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we covered a lot of stuff. This is really, really
Yeah,
good.
this is wonderful.
It's really good for us to hear this. So you talk about your fear and your of falling and your management strategies. You talked about how you reacted. You've never been depressed about it. You said you had a sobering moment and then you...
It's sobering regularly, actually.
Okay,
I don't dwell on it, but when I do think about it, it's like, oh, this is a bummer.
yeah. You didn't know we were going to do this recording, and neither did we. Well, like,
Whatever works for you.
I've asked you this before. For other people out there who are dealing with Parkinson's, or let's just say any kind of impairment in mobility, what kind of advice do you give?
This is where I feel arrogant because I mean, my case is so mild now compared to some of the people I see walking down the street. It seems arrogant to give anybody. I mean, the only advice.
You might, and I'm interrupting, I'm sorry, but maybe one of the reasons that you're still moving so well is because of your mindset, and I really think that has a lot to do with it, which is something I'd love to see more people adopt.
So every morning when my kids got up, I make them breakfast and get their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches ready for school, and they walk out the door. I always tell them, every day of school, for all the years they went to school, make it good. I love you. Not have a good day. You got to own the process.
Yeah, that's true.
Make it good. So I read that, just to be sort of consistent, I tell myself that. Not as good at it as I want them to be, but you have to take ownership over the issue.
You know,
You lose their hands.
I have a friend in Alabama, John Carmichael, who's maybe 50-ish, diagnosed maybe 2 years ago. And if I remember right, I think he was very, very overweight. And now he does like Spartan races and marathons and all that. Because this was the trigger to get him to fight back. And actually he's healthier now than he's ever been, right? So what he did is similar to what you did, even though you were running 6 miles a day for years, right? You were already fit and healthy. Yeah, what I'm referring to more is the mindset that was adopted, right? You immediately adopted a mindset of making a good day, taking ownership, taking control, and he did too. And
Showed me
over
pictures of yourself when you were really heavy.
Well, I've done that.
And you've been there and done that, you took ownership over the process.
That dude took just a little extra ownership. The tacos in Mexico are really good.
But I mean, it's not just people with Parkinson's, it's anybody.
Well, that is true, yeah. And I guess that's part of the point, but mindset is so important. So like Omatol Thomas in London is a good friend. She and I will be teaching in Scotland together this November. Same thing, early onset. I think she was 30 when she had her first.
That would be
And
depressing.
then this year's 38. Like most of my friends are 38. I just so happens, it's kind of interesting. I have a lot of friends that happen to be 38 years old right now, and we like hang out a lot together.
79, 80, great year. Nice.
Yeah, it had to be that. They made a lot of great babies that year, right? So, no, but Omoto was diagnosed maybe 2 years ago, but talk about ownership. I mean, so people like you, John, Omoto, there are countless others too, though. I mean, Phil Bungay in London, oh my gosh, Angela McCarty in Scotland, all of my friends in Mexico, Angeles, Marie, so many of them, they just have taken what you do. This is so important, this mindset and ownership and control of your
I
life.
think one of the things that y'all can do for people is they won't show up at your door unless they're taking some ownership.
That's true.
There's a threshold effect. You know, they don't want to get help.
Yeah.
Then if you encourage them and show them that it helps, so you can maintain that momentum.
Yeah.
Which is what all three of you have done when I worked with you. I said, oh, that's good, you really do. I think myself bullshit. But the encouragement, it helps. You know, all that's good, look what you did. Like when I almost break my neck on the jumping through the hoops. It's like, no, that was good. And I'm stumbling all the way, and you learn how to catch yourself. And I think that's true.
Yeah, no, it is good. It's always good.
So I think y'all have, I mean, as much as anything, just once you get them in the door and keep them coming back, that's half the victory right there because they've taken ownership.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing too is, I mean, this is a little bit different topic, but it is kind of the same. So I haven't decided exactly who will see this video. Maybe it'll just be public too, because it's actually very informational. If you don't mind, maybe we'll just let the world see it. But I am the first to admit, and I do it in every workshop, I admit I don't ever feel like exercising, ever. It's a rare occasion when I feel like doing anything, but the reason I do it is I don't want to be 280 pounds again. I don't want to feel like crap. And I know that if I start to exercise, I'll get the energy to keep going, then I'm good. But there's another way, it's my self-shaming way, is that there are people dealing with some serious issues, and they're fighting. Shame on me. You know, we have people who can't stand up anymore as clients. They would give anything to stand one time, walk a few steps. Right. And they'll never do it, probably. At least one person probably won't. I still have hope for almost everybody. It's like, I have hope for everybody. It's for improvements, but it's like, whoever watches this, whoever we decide is going to see this, it's this thing, this mindset of, we have to figure out the way that we can get motivated to do things, but we have a fighter here. We have fighters all over the place against Parkinson's. You don't have to have a disease to be a fighter. I mean, I still have an extra 15 pounds on me. I should be fighting that. And I don't fight it as well as I should. And now I'm going to start to work out today. But but it's for your lifestyle. Yeah. And doing it in time. I mean, I do my walking first thing like 5:30 in the morning. So I feel incredibly noble when I'm done. And it's done. I don't have to worry. I don't have to think about it for the rest of the day. So I mean, it's got to fit it into your lifestyle so that it works in a way that, hey, you feel good about it. I don't want to do it when I start. Mm-hmm. I feel good about myself when I'm finished. Yeah. I do it before I'm conscious, so I realize I sort of do it as a rote. Yeah. Well, it makes all the difference. I suspect that's a large reason why you're moving so well. You just took control.
So this morning I got up and I thought, I can take the day off from walking. I had breakfast and I thought, shit. I went out and walked, and I should have because I had breakfast. But I did it because it's the guilt thing at that point. Mm-hmm. If I miss it, some days I have to miss because I'm traveling or something like that. So I know it's good for me. I know I should do it. And I feel good about it when I'm doing it, actually. And when it's over, I feel noble as hell. That threshold effect of getting myself to start is always a challenge.
Yeah. Going back to advice. Did we give advice yet? Sorry, I'm thinking about so many different things. People with Parkinson's.
Give advice. I don't have any.
No. Your advice, just from coming from where you're at.
As I said, it feels arrogant to say.
I know, but never mind that, because you're not arrogant. See, he's the nicest guy. That's why he says that.
I mean, it strikes me that you only get one life, and if the more you make of it, the better it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know people in much worse shape than I am. I admire just really noble human beings.
Yeah.
My son has a friend who's paraplegic. He's got the greatest attitude. I mean, I look at him and I think I couldn't do it. I admire him immensely. Mm-hmm. So I mean, of course, you were saying if he can do it, I should be able to do it.
That's actually my that's my last resort for me to get moving. I can often, guilt often will work. But if guilt doesn't work, it's guilt plus shaming myself. Shame on me. I can move, why don't I?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's going extreme, but I actually do it fairly regularly. Especially when I'm in another country somewhere and I have jet lag and I don't feel like it.
And the food's good.
It's crazy. Well, thank you.
Oh, it's a
Do we have
pleasure.
any other questions?
I do. Do you, besides training, which is great, what else do you do? Do you have any support groups for you or maybe your spouse or family?
I have some very dear friends that are supportive. I wouldn't call it a support group. I have a my oldest and dearest friend actually lives in Moscow. We just Skyped this morning. And he was diagnosed about 6 months ago with Parkinson.
Wow.
So now we're sort of a mutual support group. And he was talking this morning about how he's realizing it wasn't clear yet. It was one of these, it seems like maybe you do, but now it's beginning to see his tremor more. And we were joking about which hand is it. And in Europe, I guess they use their fork in their left hand. I use my fork in my right hand. Well, ironically, I have a right-handed problem. He has a left-handed problem. You just switch hands.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I mean, I think part of it is just being able to joke about it helps.
Mhm.
So otherwise, it gets sort of heavy. And heavy doesn't do anybody any good. But I don't have I mean, I've had several people contact me about putting me together with friends of theirs who have Parkinson's to sort of relate to each other. I'm willing to do it, but I don't feel the need. But I mean, if I don't have a support group in that Parkinson's collections, except for this new old friend of mine who has a new case. It's ironic as hell.
Right, yeah. Because you guys have known each other
Since
since,
birth.
I was going to say,
Our grandparents lived together when we lived in this country.
oh,
my
wow.
goodness, wow.
Isn't that cool?
That is
My
cool.
mom and my parents and his parents were mutually best man and best maid of honor at each other's weddings.
Wow.
We go way back. We're about 2 months apart in birth.
Whoa, that's incredible, right?
It's a very dear friend to have.
And you've been there to see him, and he's coming here. You see him every year or so, don't you?
Usually every year.
Yeah. Wow.
Not very convenient, he's in Moscow.
No, that's cool. So yeah, why is that was okay? Yeah, you were talking about groups and support.
Did I answer your question?
What about your spouse or family members? Do they ever see?
I think they're supportive, but nobody dwells on it. It's just part of life. I think they try and accommodate me, which I appreciate. I mean, sometimes words are so embarrassing, but I realize they're being nice, and so it's nice to. My dad said to me that he didn't have Parkinson's, but he said when he was like 80-something, he said, it's amazing how many nice people are in the world. He knew that to begin with, but the older you get, the more frail you get, the more you realize how kind people can be for just little things. I'm a little ahead of the curve on this, but I see a lot of kindness as people do, including my family, but nobody dwells on it and says, well, I feel sorry for you, I have Parkinson's, so let's help you, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have the support, though.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have any other questions? I learned a lot, and I've known you for years.
Yeah, really.
I just didn't think about the world swirling when you turn.
It's a good insight.
That's actually really important, I think. Something we can share with others in case, I'm sure other people experience it too.
Just disorienting,
Yeah.
particularly when your body's not doing what you want it to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you for what y'all do for people, because, as I said, once they get to your door, if you can help them maintain that momentum to sort of help themselves, that's, as I said to you, you're doing good. Hopefully you do well doing it.
That's the goal. Always. People need help. And anytime somebody changes in their psychological or emotional psychological state to feeling more positive, thinking more positive, feeling more positive emotions, that is a ripple effect. And it goes out through family, friends, co-workers, everything. It's a big deal.
It feeds on itself too, because the more you feel it, coming back to you from your friends who are like, "God, that's really cool that you can blah, 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 whatever, fill in the blank."
Yep.
It just encourages you to try more.
Yeah, it sure does.
Can I just make one point? I was just having a conversation along these lines, similar lines, recently with someone, and we were talking about how, when things are going well and you have this sort of positive energy and you have positive people around you. Like, I used to have this big fear that if things were going well, I'd get panicked that things were suddenly going to stop going well, and so it would almost be like a sabotage sort of situation. But I find that if I kind of in just a really grateful place, that you actually kind of just keep bringing that into your life, and then it spreads.
My philosophy of teaching relates to this. I bring the energy to the classroom. I can energize my students. That energy comes back and feeds into me.
Mhm.
So it's a positive feedback loop.
Right, exactly.
It's actually, if you increase the frequency in your body with positive energy, that's why the term good vibes
Yeah.
comes from. It's you have that higher frequency, and then you attract
Yeah.
Absolutely.
the universe. It's in the universe.
And it's getting away from that fear of scarcity, that there's suddenly somehow isn't enough to go around, or that there's a limited supply of certain things, when in fact I think that
Yeah,
energy
it's a
is
good
the
Saying I've
opposite.
got
It's-
enough room for more people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
There's plenty of room.
yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. There's, I don't know, a lot of books I've read about different things over the years talk about the fear of lack and limitation, and how when you fear it, you get more of it.
Yeah.
Like that which you fear, you get more of a lot of times.
Mhm.
But what's interesting is, not to talk about me, but I went from a fairly negative kind of guy to finally being more positive. From what I find is really
You could bottle
interesting.
that, dude, you'd make a lot of money on that.
With the people I'm around now, we're here on our travels, because she's in the same place. We have some amazing friends, and they're actually friends, and it's like the energy is through the roof. Yet we're in control and all that stuff of ourselves, but it's like, it's actually amazing. It's been so amazing the past couple of years, especially. A lot of that started right around the time you hired me, because I was going through a transition back
See what
then.
you did?
I had just finished losing a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you were a big influence in the positive energy thing. Thank you very much, because you're always smiling and radiate this positive vibe. But then I met you. Sure.
I apologize.
But there were other people up at the university, too, who were like that. There are certain people I stayed away from. And then there were the ones I was around because I knew that I would get and I just started to realize that's who I need. And that's when we come together and make the biggest difference, too, is when we have this kind of energy. People fight better. They move better. You actually move better when you're thinking more positive. You're stronger when you think positive, too. We have a
Absolutely.
test that demonstrates that. It's very cool. Works every time. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Terry.
Nice to
You are the man, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I don't
much.
think so.
No, we learned a lot. Absolutely fantastic.